creepy and cool TikToks that will blow your mind. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
Ozempic face, let's talk. Do you ever wonder why all these celebrities that are on Ozempic are looking like lizard people? I mean, look at them. Look at the cheekbones. They're just completely sucked in. I'm going to tell you why, and it's crazier than you think. The Olsen twins never looked like this. I mean, look at Kelly Osbourne in a matter of like a year or two, how much she has changed. All because,
man, she looks like grandma.
Of Ozempic. All right, so this is going to be a deep dive into Ozempic and Wegovy, the sister drug, and what it actually is and why you should never take it. And if you know anybody taking it, please send them this video and maybe save their life because this stuff is nasty. All right, so Ozempic and its sister drug, Wegovy, are both made by Novo Nordisk. They're a GLP-1 hormone, but that's just marketing. There's no GLP-1 anything in these drugs. In just the last 5 years, they have made $2.21 trillion off of Ozempic and Wegovy, and America buys 90% of it. So it's complete and total propaganda that there's any GLP-1 hormone in this drug. People think GLP-1, oh, okay, it must just have that hormone in it. No, it's zero. That's literally propaganda. There is only one substance in these drugs, and it is called Exendin-4, EXENDIN-4. It's lizard venom. Remember Revelation 18:23. In the last days, the world nations will be deceived by pharmakia. So the Exendin-4 protein is derived from this guy. The Gila monster lizard venom. He's found in the southeastern United States deserts. That guy's venom is what you are injecting into yourself every single week. And if you're not careful, you're going to end up looking lizard-faced like these people did. So this venom protein, Exendin-4, has actually been studied since 1956. They started isolating the venom protein to see what it would do to the human body. I guess they were just curious. So here's what they found. It paralyzes your vagal nerve, and it paralyzes your stomach sphincter, which empties your food into your intestines. So therefore, after breakfast, you're not hungry for hours because your nutrition is sitting in your stomach, not emptying to your intestines to create fecal matter and get all the nutrients from your food to go into your bloodstream. Exendin-4 is a neurotoxic lizard venom that you are injecting into yourself once a week for the rest of your life. Please stop. So after injecting this venom, it touches what are called L cells, and that releases GLP-1 hormone inside our bodies. All right, that's it for part one. Come back for part two. Because trust me, there's a lot more that most people don't know, and they're injecting themselves with lizard venom. Stop doing that. This video is for entertainment and informational purposes only. All views.
Why would anyone want to do that? Oh, by the way, for them, it's not Ozempic. It's lack of kid to eat.
So you mean to tell me Steven Spielberg is putting out his Alien movie around the same time the government is speaking about aliens? You do know that the Pentagon controls Hollywood. So if that man put out a movie like this, guess what? The Pentagon signed off on it. But what's really taking place? And why is this shit happening all of a sudden? I mean, they been had this information, so why would you want to release it now? This video is about to get a little dark and a little deep. Stay with me. Lies, 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 lies. These life forms are not coming from millions of light years away. They are right next to us. As I make this video, there's probably one right here. These are called interdimensional beings, meaning they share the same space with us. That's the big secret about space. It's all around us. But we are trained to believe, to look up when they say outer space. It's not outer space, it's inner space. Why do you think the governments can't use nuclear weapons no more? These aliens will not allow our governments to use these weapons because we are sharing the same space. If they let off a nuclear bomb, guess what? It's going to fuck with their reality like it mess with ours. These realities are set up like the world map. Every time you go into a different country, it's like going into a different interdimensional timeline. Africa, China, UK, America, Cuba. These are all different countries, but in the spiritual world, they are known as interdimensional timelines. Where do you think the governments learn how to divide borderlines from? They got it from the spiritual world. They are not millions of light years away. They are with us right now. For the people that don't understand what's going on, the human population is being replaced. These interdimensional beings are coming in and out of our reality. And guess what? They don't want to leave now. You know how the governments be taking different countries? Well, these aliens are taking different realities. But you will never hear the president come on TV and say, we lost. Steven Spielberg know exactly what he's doing. By the way, this guy is a Mason. He know all the secrets about what's really taking place. But people still think Hollywood movies is just for entertainment. Nah, not at all. Why would you think that? Hollywood is like the Akasha records. They take the information and give it to you, but it's up to you to believe it or not. Our creator made our timeline out of unconditional love. So anytime there's hatred in our reality, these aliens can come in our reality. I've been making these videos since 2010 trying to warn the people. If you want to know more, read my ebook. It's in the bio.
The CIA signed off on it. More importantly.
Oh, some of you are still under the illusion that this is a real relationship? Then let's talk about some really other notorious fake arranged Hollywood marriages. Specifically, let's talk about the life and marriage of Rock Hudson. Rock Hudson was one of the biggest movie stars in the 1950s. He was a part of this beefcake type.
Beefcake! You know who that is? Cartman. South Park.
That was really, really popular during the era. Easy to understand, right? But the big problem with Mr. Rock Hudson is that secretly he was a gay man. Now, his agent, Henry Wilson, didn't mind too much because Henry Wilson was also an undercover gay man. But the problem is he also exploited his clients and expected them to put out if he was going to make them in Hollywood. But Henry Wilson also had another particular habit. He liked to arrange marriages for his gay male clients that he was coercing and grooming and abusing. And somewhere around 1955, this little rag, Confidential, which was the big tabloid gossip magazine of Hollywood at the time, they basically wrote to Wilson and said, we know Hudson's gay and we're about to write about it. So what happened to Rock Hudson? He was put into an arranged marriage with Phyllis Gates. And they were married for about 3 years. Power couple, pictured everywhere. And honestly, their pictures kind of remind you a little bit of something, don't they? There's their wedding picture. Total and utter sham. And his wife, which was forced on him by his agent and the studios and managers and everyone else who was making money off of Rock Hudson, they secretly recorded his confession so that they could hold him into that arranged marriage. Rock Hudson would die in 1984 of AIDS, which he very, very bravely, very valiantly came out and spoke about and disclosed. But it's really hard to forget the arranged marriage he was put into just to hide his sexuality.
Is an arranged Hollywood married? They'll have a kid and then divorce. I don't know, 5 years later.
Every religion has demons, but almost nobody asks where the demons came from. In the ancient Indo-Iranian tradition before Zoroaster reform, there was a pantheon of gods called Devas. Powerful, divine beings worshipped across the region. The same root word that produced the Sanskrit Deva, the Hindu gods. The same beings that the Vedic tradition still honors today. Then Zoroaster arrived, and in a single theological move, he flipped the entire hierarchy. The Devas were not gods. They were servants of Ahriman, forces of deception and chaos that led humanity away from truth and into darkness. What an entire civilization had been worshipping as divine became the enemy. The Devas most associated with Ahriman's army included Ayeshma, the demon of wrath and violence, Druj, the demon of the lie, Nasu, the demon of decay and corruption, Akamana, the demon of evil intention. What makes this theologically explosive is what happened next. The Zoroastrian framework fed directly into Judaism during the Babylonian exile, which feds directly into Christianity and Islam. The entire Western understanding of demons, of Satan's army, of forces of darkness operating against divine order, traces directly back to Zoroaster's decision to demote the devas from gods to demons. The beings people in three of the world's largest religions understand as evil were once worshipped as divine. One man's theological reform became the cosmological architecture of half the world for the full esoteric layer of the Deva tradition. And what it reveals about how religious powers actually works, I go much deeper inside my private study circle on Telegram, link is in my bio. What do you think happens to a god when a civilization that worshipped it decides it was evil all along?
Markiplier's mom said some of the strangest things about him that make him sound like he is a otherworldly being. Like, she wrote a book about him that's called Markiplier from Korea. It's super freaking weird. You're thinking it's going to be funny little stories. But his mom literally described him and said, in another life, he was supposed to be the second coming of Jesus Christ or Buddha. She also said
What?
if her family would have sided with North
Blasphemy.
Korea, it was supposed to be his destiny to be the leader of North Korea instead of Kim Jong-un if they stayed.
Really?
Yes. This is where it starts getting weird, Mike. It starts getting almost scary. His mom says, as if he's Pennywise, Mike, to Mark as a child, the past, present, and future literally were all one. And the reason why she said time just seemed that type of way to him, he would answer questions hours later as if it was the first time they asked it. Also, his mother said and other friends said Markiplier's his nightmares would be so severe that even if you laid next to this, you would share the exact same nightmare that this dude would have.
That's actually insane.
That's what they said. His mom even said this. Why would your parents come out and make this war about you, Mike? No, really, like really think about it. His parents are foreign.
That's crazy. Yeah.
She literally even said he would answer questions before they were asked. She even said, I didn't even think Markiplier was capable of crying until he got like his 8 million award or whatever. Like she said, I didn't think he was able to cry.
That's crazy.
She said when he was a baby, he didn't cry at all. Mike, it's just too much, bro.
Yeah, no,
come on,
insane.
dog.
That's insane.
I don't know. I just wanted to tell you that because I just thought it was very interesting of like, imagine having this type of lore and why would my mom be the one spinning it?
Yeah.
Then why is bro always in the hospital?
This is Wonder Woman from Marvel. She lives in an island called Themyscira. It's located, secluded from all of the world, in the Bermuda Triangle. It's in a different dimension, in that different space. And on this island is an island full of demigods. Now, the definition of a demigod is a half God, which is half angel or fallen angel, half human. Therefore, they are immortal. And they have these long ages where they just stay in their prime perpetually. Now, Wonder Woman is an ambassador to man's world. So she travels there and she fights in this movie in World War I. Then you see her again after time elapses, where she's with the Justice League, where she's fighting with them. And it's in the future. And she has not aged one bit. Now, this doesn't mean that the Bermuda Triangle has weird dimensions inside of it. And when people travel there, the compass spins out of control and things befall them that they cannot explain. That's not what this means at all. What did we learn? This doesn't mean that we have explored the world or we haven't explored the world and we don't know what else is out there. That's not what this means at all. This doesn't mean that there are celebrities that look uncanny, like identical with some pictures in the past. This doesn't mean that at all. This doesn't mean that they put it in movies for us to see and think is entertainment. Wonder Woman has a lasso of truth where she wraps it around somebody and they have to tell the truth. It's an Amazon where they are giants. Amazonian giants. This doesn't mean that at all, you guys. What did we learn?
All superheroes are fallen angels. If you pay attention.
Does anyone want to hear a conspiracy theory that's as unhinged as some of my fashion decisions? Awesome, here it is. Ivanka is Barron's biological mother. I came across this while scrolling a celebrity conspiracy theory thread, and for some reason, this one really caught my eye. Now, is this true? Who knows? Is anything true? We live in a post-fact society where everything is either determined by an algorithm, billionaires, AI, or somehow all three combined. So no, I don't know if this is true. That's why it's not a conspiracy truthy, it's a conspiracy theory. For argument's sake, let's say this is true, and if so, there are two ways it could have happened, and don't worry, they are both equally creepy and disgusting. Scenario number one, it was an accidental pregnancy. So while Melania was pregnant, Ivanka accidentally got pregnant, and she didn't want to be. And then, just by chance, Melania happened to lose the baby, so they used that to say that Ivanka's baby was actually Melania's. Now, the side note to this is the father of Ivanka's baby is this person. And that's why Baron looks inbred, because he's inbred. Scenario number two, this was all completely on purpose. So these two people are in fact Baron's parents, but because they did it on purpose, they did IVF and they put it inside Melania. And so the same applies. The reason he looks inbred is because he's inbred. Listen, I said they were both going to be creepy, so at least I delivered on that promise. Ugh, not a promise I want to deliver on. Anyway, I found a lot more amazing conspiracy theories on this celebrity thread that I was looking at, so if you want any more, just tell me, and I'll do another one. It won't be as creepy, I promise.
I don't buy it.
Is Garth Brooks a serial killer? This is how this all started. So I just kind of was like, this guy's weird, man. You know? And I jokingly said that, like, there's missing people, and I don't know, they kind of line up with places he's been. He would do a post, there'd be like 5,800 comments all about, I want my grandmother back. This lasted a while. He shut out. No more comments. No face. You can't comment on his Instagram, on his Facebook. No, he just shut it down. A guy wrote a book.
Bodies in Low Places.
Two brave journalists
Wow.
there to expose the music industry's darkest secret.
Hands down, the best thing on
Crazy.
social media right now is Europeans discovering American food. I told y'all we do everything better. You got this girl right here that says she's hooked on American condiments. She called it crack. She said she won't ever be able to live without it again. Listen to what he said.
Yeah, finally, some normal food. I'm in America for the World Cup and trying Chick-fil-A for the first time. We've got a spicy chicken burger, fried potatoes, and a Coke Zero. Let's dig in, shall we? Oh my days. Get in!
You had another guy that went to Raising Cane's for the first time, and he act like this was the best food he ever had in his whole entire life. And now I gotta ask the question, what are they really eating on the other side of the world? They food must not have no seasoning. It must not have no substance because they loving this shit.
Right.
Look at this.
Son. Raising Cane's, baby. We in America. We in the States. We in the States.
It's just chicken. But watch when he takes that cane sauce.
Let me dip it in the cane sauce? KMB in the USA. Crazy. Let me dip it in the cane sauce like I see on TikTok? Oh my gosh. That sauce bowl was crazy.
Look.
You know what?
Look.
Don't get me gusted, no.
Y'all telling me they don't got free refills in Europe?
I can refill this
Look.
1,000 times. Yeah, but you won't drink 1,000.
This man is shocked right now.
Yeah, man, we don't do refills too here in Indonesia.
And it's free. You paid for it. You paid it. Once.
Imagine being surprised because of the size of a soda.
I asked a medium size. That's medium.
We do everything right, baby. Look at that.
My entire family can drink.
I'm out of here.
This new Netflix
Madonna.
documentary is like the wildest thing I've seen in a long time. This girl right here lied to her boyfriend here, told him that she was pregnant. She got a fake baby bump, fake ultrasound and all. And then when 10 months came around, everybody was like, girl, when the baby coming out?
Yeah, man, I saw this. The documentary is stupid.
And then she had to go find the baby. She came up with this elaborate scheme and then went to her friend's house who was actually pregnant. And then the friend, and then took the baby out of the lady's belly.
911, what's your emergency? I need an ambulance because I started having my baby.
She was carrying the baby in her lap.
So it looked like she had a baby.
The baby died. The mom died. She got death penalty.
It doesn't?
No.
She
Not
was...
letting her leave.
No. I don't know what it is that he wants me to talk about.
It's on Netflix, by the way.
Where does this baby come from?
It's mine.
Can't be.
But I blame the boyfriend for being retarded.
And they'll call you crazy for talking about this.
Just wait. We're gonna get into it. Okay. She's swimming with whales. She's swimming with dolphins while pregnant. Can we get into how dolphin-assisted births were a thing until they found out it was unsafe, but there was like no mortality rate when it came to dolphin-assisted births, and there was no complications from my understanding. I think his name was Igor, the man that did it. I believe it was in Hawaii. They shut down his entire situation. Apparently, pregnant women were being surrounded by dolphins, and they used their echolocation to create like some kind of wave to make it a virtually painless birth for them. So they took that away, right? Now we know, guys, with the last video, I will admit I had a martini, but I am going to tell you guys that I still think I was cooking when I said that dolphins and whales, all the marine animals, a lot of them, like in regards to dolphins and whales and stuff, they communicate with frequency. And with music, we know, like with that interview that X did, and I think 2016 before he passed, he was talking about how there are certain frequencies used to keep you in a depressive state, correct? You know that sirens also use song. That's what we were told, right? Sirens use song to get people off of the boat to come into the water. What if it's not the song, but the frequency? And what if that same frequency is what they use in marine life? Like, what if they all speak one language in different like dialects? Because there's different frequencies. Like there's that 52 hertz whale that no one has ever seen. Like there are, I believe, 3 or 5 different types of whales that we can hear in the ocean. And we see that's a different frequency. At least that's what marine biologists say, but we've never seen them. We don't even know if it really is a whale. What if it's not? What if it's something else that just speaks that language, but a different dialect? I mean, we as people on land have different dialects. We have different languages. Why wouldn't the animals under the sea too? I mean, the sea makes up more of the globe than we do. I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's really giving that, because if there's certain, I mean, we've all seen that They Clone Tyrone scene, right? Where music was making them do different things. What if it's like a certain frequency wave that sirens like tune into to trick your mind into like a hypnosis kind of thing to get you to get off the boat? These are the things that I think about at 12 a.m. These are the things.
So too.
Anyway, y'all, I feel like I'm cooking. Are you catching what I'm putting down? As always, make sure you like and follow and comment down below what you think.
I feel women are supposed to have water births. What do you think?
Been plagued by this documentary for 2 years now, and I'm wondering, when will change happen? I watch over 1,000 documentaries a year, and this is one of the few that pops into my head at random times and will just make me feel sick for an entire day. This is about the hundreds of thousands of boys that are raped in Pakistan. In Pakistan, there's over 1 million homeless children, which in and of itself is horrifying. But in this area of Pakistan, these homeless boys are raped on a regular basis, and everybody knows about it. If you love documentaries, I talk about documentaries here daily, so remember to hit follow. There's a bunch of bus drivers that stop at this rest point that is treated kind of like a hostel. These bus drivers then ask the hostel owner to bring them a boy, and the owner goes out and finds a boy on the street and promises him a bed and food for the night if he comes and stays. These boys then go back to the hostel where they are brutally assaulted, and we're talking like 8-year-olds, and they also get them hooked on drugs so that they come back to the hostel and try to make money to get more drugs. Like children. 9 out of 10 children will be raped while living on the streets in this area. If that doesn't enrage you, I don't know what does. And some people go like, why would I want to watch a documentary like this? Well, because documentaries like this spread awareness, people get angry, and change happens.
Let's pray for those kids, folks. Let's pray for them.
A new RFK Jr. biography based on his own diaries just came out today, and some of the stuff is seriously disturbing. So basically, RFK's second wife took years of his diaries during their divorce for insurance and then gave them to close friends who later gave them to an author. And RFK has actually validated the existence of these diaries. He called them a tool for self-examination and for healing his spiritual struggles. That's an interesting way to refer to drug addiction and affairs. He wrote that he started using LSD and amphetamine at 15 years old, and that that quickly turned into acid and meth. He also forced his then 13-year-old brother David to use heroin. Quote, Bobby held him down when he was 13 and shot him with heroin. Bobby was the ringleader. And what breaks my heart is that David later died of a drug overdose. We're also learning so much about RFK's serial philandering, which he calls lust demons. The book alleges he cheated on his first wife with his second and his second wife with his third and had numerous other affairs throughout. In fact, he kept a conquest log in the back of his diary with the list of women's names and a number 0 through 10 to indicate which sexual acts they did. Like, are we in high school? Sometimes there were up to 3 women in one day, and next to some of the entries, he wrote victory with exclamation points. Like, ew. He also referred to random sexual encounters as muggings, like, quote, I got mugged on the way home, I have to do better. There are so many more bizarre, disturbing revelations, like when he bragged about cutting the penis off a dead raccoon he found on the side of the road while his kids waited in the car. Let me know if you want a part 2 on the rest, and as always, follow News Girls to stay in the loop.
Disturbing. Sick.
Cup is a massive satanic ritual, and you need to watch till the end of this video. And if you've been keeping up with the Simpsons predictions, they have Mexico and Portugal going to the championship. You see this picture of Ronaldo right here, you probably think nothing of it. He gave blood, no big deal. It's no big deal until you see this satanic beast called Baphomet doing the exact same symbol. You might think that's just a weird coincidence. Well, look at Ronaldo doing this symbol, which is the exact same as this boy doing this symbol, worshipping the beast. Speaking of the beast, look how many followers he has. 665 million followers. By the time the World Cup is over, this number will be 666. What a weird timing. You might ask, how old is Cristiano Ronaldo? Well, he's 41 years old. Why is that number significant? It's the exact same age Kobe Bryant died at. You know who also just passed away at the age of 41? Kyle Busch. Just 3 days after Kyle Busch died, Victor Wembanyama scored 41 points and 24 rebounds. What are the odds that Kobe Bryant's famous workout plan was called 666, doing 6 hours a day, 6 days a week for 6 months? And seriously, the symbols are right in front of our face. There's another one. You've probably seen tons of celebrities do this one before. You've probably seen the cover of the World Economic Forum for 2026 with Ronaldo down in the corner. This guy right here. Almost identical to Ronaldo right here. But hey, this is all for entertainment purposes only. If you want a free $50 to bet on the World Cup, get the Polymarket app, use code TROOPER. They're going to dump $50 into your account when you deposit $20.
Yo, Dance Mom Melissa just responded to all the allegations that Maddie is in the Epstein files. So if you haven't heard yet, the newest files that were released show that apparently they were emailing about a girl from the Chandelier video. And everybody knows that was Maddie. So these emails were back in 2014. And when Maddie was 11 in 2014, this is when her and Sia began to work on Chandelier and when the music video was released. So they refer to her as like the amazing little dancing girl or something like that from the Chandelier video. And within the email, they're talking about like a pizza party or something and how they stayed up late and had fun. So I've seen other videos where allegedly pizza party is code for something else, and I really don't want to say what that's code for, so just look into that yourselves. So as crazy as this is not the only instance where Maddie was almost put in danger. So apparently whenever she was filming Leap, her animated movie, Harvey Weinstein invited her on his jet, and Sia actually begged Melissa, like, this is not a good idea, do not do this. And thank goodness Maddie never got on that plane with him. So something else that really disturbed me, but I haven't seen anyone talk about. Back when I was watching the R. Kelly documentary like years ago, one of the females in the video said that whenever she was with R. Kelly, she often saw him watching Dance Moms and she always thought it was weird. And I feel like that really made me think about when these girls become famous, you never really know what audiences you're attracting. So back to Melissa, she obviously saw a lot of the articles about Maddie being mentioned in the Epstein files, and she flat out said this is completely ridiculous and that to stop making stuff up about her daughter. But I think she felt like people were saying that Maddie was mixed in that, like she was there or she was exposed to these people. The only thing that happened was that the video that Maddie was featured in was brought up amongst these creeps. I'm just happy that Maddie was a lot more protected than some of these girls that unfortunately became victims. But comment what y'all think.
Dance Mom is literally child exploitation. All those kids were abused. It's Hollywood.
New Orleans. People look at this as like
a haunted playground. Why do you think that is?
Because it is. It's so powerful here that even the average person will start to pick up that something's fucking different. Above us are slave quarters. This used to be the big house, which means that there are dead black bodies underneath these bricks. That's everywhere in New Orleans. It's the history of the place.
Do you think this city attracts people that are spiritually reckless?
Yeah, most people don't even understand the value of their own spirit. It's real easy to take from them. There's a reason that there's alcohol available 24/7. There are parties 24/7.
Yeah.
Join one Mardi Gras. There's a man on one of these upper floors or whatever, super, super drunk, falls over the railing and splat on the ground. And you can see blood running out of his ear into the soil.
He gave a spirit?
Directly to the land.
I'm about to y'all head up. Watch this. Futurama, my favorite cartoon by far. That, Eddie and Eddie, and a few others. But that's neither here nor there. Listen to this scientist that's missing, explaining how the gray aliens eat.
A evolutionary genetic curve, and they're going downhill instead of uphill. In other words, in the autopsies, of which I have two, we found out that their digestive system is atrophied. They can't eat through their mouth anymore.
Iron Sky.
Well, these cattle mutilations, they take the hormones and the enzymes from those cattle and they spread it on their skin. And their skin absorbs the nutrients and then excretes the waste back through their skin. And if you read Whitley Strieber's book or listen to him talk, he talks about when he's seen them doing this to their skin and they're scraping the waste off.
The large gray two large grays that I shot and killed, I can't tell you how ugly they were, and I can never tell you how graphic the stench was. But in the cave, there were large cauldrons or tanks. They kind of looked like a big old cattle feeding tank, but they weren't. They were special, looked like a stainless steel or metallic tank. And they were filled.
So basically, what Zorgberg did right here in this episode, he took some increment and rubbed it on his skin, and it absorbed in his skin. Boom. The gray aliens are supposedly us from the future. They're from,
the ultra-terrestrials, I'll just tell you. The ultra-terrestrials, I think, have you heard of the P-52s and the P-47s? Do you know what that is?
Boom, boom. So basically the P-45s and the P-52s are two different timelines. Plus 45,000 years and plus 52,000 years. In 2012, we broke timelines. That's why everybody sees shit different. That's what these people was explaining before they was unalived. They came back to this timeline to try and fix what they fucked up. That's the grave. Orbo, Chicken Nugget, remember the Chicken Nugget episode? They're extraterrestrial, aka reptilian from Orion. They are invaders. The Space Force symbol don't have the Orion. It has Palladium, Polaris, and Draco. NASA had the Orion. Look at the Pentagon. World Trade, Orion's bit. They are invaders. They only here and there. They're called Alpha Draconans.
Alpha Draconans are here now. Where there are 1,833 of them that have been living underground between 100 and 200 miles beneath the surface. They've been here. Some of them have been here a long, long time.
That's just the first part. Tap in for part 2, please. It get worse. It gets.
Aliens are demons. Don't get it twisted.
So Justin Bieber, his whole life ran by these elites, right? So imagine now he's headlining at Coachella. This is my own theory. Everyone loves Justin Bieber, fam. So now it's like, once all this stuff is going on, who are we looking at? They're gonna use Justin Bieber again for this one last time to distract. You know what I mean? Yo, it has to. You can say the same about Kanye West. I was gonna say that. Yeah, they let him back.
They let him back, and they're letting him perform.
Oh, that is true. That's such a big distraction. Everybody's like, what? Kanye's back. This, like, all I see is Kanye now.
Yeah.
See, it's like pawns. It's like when they need that move, they got you.
Because, yo, when you see the big one or the leader switch sides, it's like, I might as well, too. You get what I'm saying here?
I get that, but if I like a celebrity, he switched sides, I just wouldn't quit him anymore.
Do you know what trank dope is?
Trank dope?
Yeah.
No.
It's fentanyl now is being mixed with a thing called xylazine, which is an animal tranquilizer. 90% of the fentanyl that's coming out of Philadelphia, you know, Kensington, you've seen the...
Hey, I think it's the same as the Russian drug a decade ago called crocodile, remember?
Oh, I have seen Trank where those people like fall over.
Yeah, like zombies. They're walking
look like
down.
They're doing crazy yoga.
Yeah.
Is it the tranquilizer that makes them just fall over like that, standing up?
As we all know, it all started with Oxycontin, and then it went to heroin. And heroin was a great high for people who are addicted to opiates because it was a powerful high and it would keep you high for a long time. And then came fentanyl. And fentanyl gives you an even more powerful high, but it's fast acting, so you get out of it fast. So somebody realized if we mix animal tranquilizer with this, you will still have the big high, but it will extend the time that you have that high.
It's a big problem in Philadelphia
it's
for some
horrible.
reason.
It looks like leprosy.
Yeah.
And it's people being amputated because...
The title of this is Losing Arms and Legs from
Yeah.
China.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh my God, that guy's got no leg because of it. Oh God.
Yeah, that guy is missing an arm. It was just one of the most painful things to watch.
Pray for Philadelphia, folks.
Something disturbing just happened at the Met Gala. Take a look at this. It all started with Katy Perry and her 6 fingers. Tons of people are talking about this, but few know what it actually means. And no, this isn't just random AI weirdness. The Bible actually mentions people with 6 fingers, but they aren't just normal people. 2 Samuel describes a war at Gath. There was a man of great stature who had 6 fingers, and he was descended from the giants. But wait, why are giants relevant? Well, that's where this gets wild. Katy went on to boldly flaunt a tarot card on the red carpet, the Magician, which is specifically associated with manifestation and turning spiritual energy into physical reality. So how does this all connect? Let me cook for a sec. When I search this in Logos, we see that scripture traces giants to a transgression that breached the boundary between divine and human realms. The sons of God, aka fallen angels, found human women attractive and took them as wives, after which the Nephilim appeared on the earth as offspring. These Nephilim hybrids were wiped out by Noah's flood. But here's the curveball. Jesus warned that the last days would be like the days of Noah. So when we put all of this together, a pattern emerges. So when Katy Perry shows up with a 6-finger glove, an alien mask, and tarot card imagery, the theme isn't just weird fashion. It visually points to an altered humanity, mankind corrupted, the human image distorted, and creation twisted away from what God designed. This is exactly why I use Logos, because when culture gets spiritually confusing, I want to go deeper into scripture with trusted scholarly sources. Try it for free for 60 days at the link below or in my bio.
It's not fashion, it's ritual. We need to stop give attention to them.
On January 20th, 2026, that girl you just saw in the video, who goes by the name La Nicolette, was kidnapped at gunpoint in Mexico. Now, La Nicolette is a content creator and influencer who lives in America and splits her time between Phoenix, Arizona and Sinaloa, Mexico. But what happened on January 25th was shocking. So according to La Nicolette, she was abducted by what seemed to be members of a Mexican cartel at gunpoint right in front of her Tesla Cybertruck, which caught the incident on camera. And this was pretty big news. She was actually missing for about 5 days. This was a massive news story here in America. But eventually on January 25th, they located La Nicolette and they brought her home safely. Now, it's still kind of murky as to what happened here, but I'm going to read you a little quote from this news report about her. During the days she remained missing, another video circulated on social media in which the influencer reads a statement accusing a criminal group known as La Maiza, also referred to as Los Mayos, a faction linked to the Sinaloa cartel, of pressuring individuals like her to participate in criminal activities tied to organized crime. In the same video, she alleges being forced to hand over money to state patrols on behalf of a figure identified as El Maito Flaco, among other claims. So what exactly went down here, we still don't really know. I don't think she's ever spoken about this, at least not that I could find. But this is just another reason why you don't mess around in Mexico.
Driving a Cybertruck in Sinaloa? What a bright idea.
I've always thought Jared Leto's a weirdo, man. Jared Leto has been using his fame, his celebrity, his image to do stuff. And look, he's admitted to doing things with fans on Ellen DeGeneres' show, but there's also some debauchery. You guys remember the whole island event? I think this was in 2020 and 2022. 30 Seconds to Mars held this live island experience with Jared Leto. Jared Leto would dress up like this, act like Jesus, and he effectively created his own cult. They'd sit around and watch him giving speeches. You can pay exorbitant amounts of money to spend time with Jared Leto alone. On September 12, 2005, the New York Post published an article on Jared Leto, 33 years old, with the blunt line, Jared Leto likes him young. This happened all the way in 2005. He's a serial texter. He is constantly texting these 16 and 17-year-old girls. It's really kind of creepy. 9 accusers have come out and accused Jared Leto of misconduct. How is Jared Leto still getting lead roles in blockbusters? They all know what he's up to. They all know what he's been accused of. They all know he's a bit of a creep and weirdo. They don't care because the case isn't public enough. These headlines came and went after the summer, all swept under the rug. I think we've just hit the tip of a very dark, nasty iceberg. They need to be looked into again.
I knew something wrong with him.
Okay, so I'm wandering around the museum today in Cairo, and I totally came across the tablets that influenced Aleister Crowley's Book of the Law. And I'm telling you guys, the whole setup is so weird. So for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, here's just like a little quick backstory. Crowley's wife basically had started channeling an entity that was telling her, you guys need to go find these tablets. So Crowley goes to Egypt, listens to his wife's instructions to a T, enters into the museum, and finds these tablets in this Cairo museum. They were labeled artifact number 666. The Stele of Revealing basically talks about a priest aligning with divine intelligence. And using this intelligence, he can reclaim divine power and direct connection with the world around him. So back to the museum. Here we are. I'm seeing these tablets. They are totally unlisted about like what they are. No information below it other than talking about the priest statues. And it's in hall number 11. And then directly across from it is a statue of Horus. And me and a few other people that are on this tour were just standing there like, how is nobody else noticing this? All of these pieces together flow like a system of an initiation process. So wild, but I guess that's like the beauty of Egypt, right? Magic is everywhere, hidden and unhidden, if you are willing to see.
They were able to make contact with a being through human sacrifice. This is no good.
Some of you are really confused, right, by the recent revelations. How could the Kardashians, an Armenian family, possibly be tied to so many preachers like William Branham? It becomes a lot easier to understand when you really dig into the history of their people, the Mullicans. Because the Mullicans were actually a part of a group of spiritual Christians from Russia. Their original family name before Kim's great-grandfather moved to America and changed it was actually Kardashev. Not Kardashian, Kardashev. Very Russian, huh? And when you spend some time looking into these Russian spiritual Christians, you find out that they had a much different reception when they came to America than a lot of other immigrants did. Mary A. Clark was actually a writer from Southern California who spent a lot of time with these people and kind of studying them and writing about them. And she pointed out some really interesting things. Specifically, she talked about how they seemed to come to America with money, how they wanted a theocracy, and they had really, really strong values for Christ, which fit in wonderfully with American values. They wanted a theocracy, you say. When you track those stories about these spiritual Christians, and then you also track the stories of Kim's great-grandfather and the religious groups that he became strongly involved with, it does actually start to make a lot more sense how the Kardashians ended up working with preachers like this. It's a very interesting story, and one that really teaches you to remember to take everything a Kardashian says with a grain of salt. If you would like to know the full details of this sketchy Kardashian history, then you can head over to patreon.com/scandalqueens, where I've now posted part 2 of my 4-part deep dive into this questionable family, because it's never what it seems.
Katy Perry is pissed. AC Slater just exposed why she looks so old. Just watch.
Can't believe this. I'm kind of angry about it, but I heard you just turned 50. Whatever, genetics.
Oh my gosh.
But you look incredible. But I feel like my life gets better the older I get.
Well, what's funny is you said you just turned 50, and then I heard the audience go,
Which is crazy because a few weeks ago, he goes on this podcast and flat out admits this.
Is it true? Is it true that we can now, if we take care of ourselves, if I'm taking this, like, for example, this Gary Brooker route, can a person really live comfortably to like 110, 115?
120 to 140.
Come
no
on!
question. Yes.
Come on, get out of here. Are you serious?
80 is about to be the new 40.
And at first, I thought, this is just a bunch of bullshit. I'm going to do some digging. That's when I came across this video of the same doctor, Jerry Brecka. Listen to what he says right here.
Astounding to me when I started my wellness practice was the paucity of knowledge and understanding about this miracle antioxidant. I understand it to be the most prevalent antioxidant in the human body. Every single cell in our bodies contains glutathione. It's manufactured by our liver, but I feel like it's the mother of all antioxidants that most people have never heard of.
It's the mother of all antioxidant. That's just one of the function. On top of that, our body produces free radicals, and that's how you're always going to be aging. Only thing that you can control is the pace. So if you can age, let's say every 6 months, you only age 1 month.
Right.
Wouldn't that be better?
So they're talking about glutathione,
Oh.
basically the thing that protects our cells from damage and stress. But the problem is, not only do our body's glutathione levels naturally drop with age, and that's why we wake up one day and feel like we've aged over 20 years overnight, like this. But I'm supplementing it with glutathione. It can help bring those levels back up, which can be really helpful and support things like liver cleansing after a night out, brightening and clearing of your skin, and those aching bones and joints, the brain fog, the overall mental clarity. Most importantly, can support your body to properly fight back against those unwanted bugs and free radicals that are just trying to hurt you. Before we go and get some random bottle of this stuff, listen very carefully to what this scientist had to say about the exact one that you want to take if you want it to work.
People want to supplement with it because they've heard about glutathione and how beneficial it is and how it's a great antioxidant. The problem is this kind of glutathione isn't going to make it inside of your cells.
So this is just a waste of time.
It is. You're going to want to get something called liposomal glutathione. Liposomal glutathione has been shown to get in.
Liposomal glutathione has been shown to get inside, and this is the one that I ended up with from Rosabella. It's liposomal, so it's actually going to absorb correctly. Not only does the brand have thousands of orders and tons of 5-star reviews, these guys are clean, made in the USA, non-GMO, gluten-free, which means you're getting a high-quality, safe product. Fair warning, the secret is definitely out on this, especially if you're a millennial like me. So it's flying off the shelves. Last time I went to order this, took 4 weeks for it to come back into stock. So if you see an orange cart somewhere around here, you're definitely lucky. I would run and grab it so you don't have to wait another month.
The contractors who built Zorro Ranch, they weren't just like a contractor that builds houses. They were a contractor that specialized in designing places like where the first nuclear weapons were built. They build very high profile government type buildings. Zorro Ranch holds licenses that allow advanced communication channels where traffic can't be monitored or intercepted. It is weird that just this guy seems to be having all of this governmental clearance on his little compound that he is allegedly just throwing parties at.
Out of curiosity, who owns the property now?
But also I said, Britney is not Britney.
Celebrities have had to sacrifice people close to them, and we thought we knew why, but the reason was far darker. Very few people know this, but Kylie Jenner's close circle was affected, and she never dared to talk about it. Her hairstylist and her best friend both died mysteriously at just 34 years old. There was also DaBaby, who saw his father die the very same day he reached #1 on the charts, as if it was the price to pay. I've rarely seen something that strange. And we can't forget Michael Jordan, one of the greatest figures of all time, yet at the peak of his career, his father was murdered. The most well-known and shocking case is Kanye West and his mother Donda West. He says it himself in this video.
I ain't taking no slice from nobody. It's God. That's the only person that I serve. My mom ain't here. My mama was sacrificed. Future. You understand? Yeah. Appreciate Michael Jordan. What about him? His daddy, right?
A few years ago, there was Diana, Princess of Wales, who died tragically in a car crash. And strangely, her companion also died shortly after. When you know what the princess was trying to do, you realize how unusual it is. And the worst might be what happened to Mariah Carey. She lost her sister and her mother on the same day while her career was taking off. That alone is disturbing. Every time it seems to happen right when they are about to become famous. But is it really a coincidence, or is something else hiding behind all of this? I know the list goes on, so tell me in the comments if I missed any.
The contractors who built Zorro Ranch, they weren't just like a contractor that builds houses. They were a contractor that specialized in designing places like where the first nuclear weapons were built. They build very high profile government type buildings. Zorro Ranch holds licenses that allow advanced communication channels where traffic can't be monitored or intercepted. It is weird that just this guy seems to be having all of this governmental clearance on his little compound that he is allegedly just throwing parties at.
If you remember my previous video on the Himalayan rock salt and need further proof of our realm's much larger biology hidden all around us in plain sight, then take a look at this video. It's not just seeing the faces on the mountains or small rocks resembling flesh. It goes much bigger than that.
Biogeology, the study of petrified fragments of giants. Now, these are theories, but not an exact science. Could have this been the inside of a digestive system of a giant? Now, as you can see the diagram that I did bring up, and you can see the circular folds, and you can also see how identical they look. Now, could have this been the entrance of the large intestine as shown in the diagram up above? Now, if you look at the diagram of the large intestine up above, and to your left you see the cave wall, you can see the identical similarities to both of them. Now, could this cave just have been a digestive tract of a giant? Now, according to research, these so-called rocks have a composition of venous blood, which is a purple blood and has composition of iron. And on the back side of this rock, you can see the uncanny flesh look to this rock. Now, take a look at this trabecular bone and compare it to this. Now, you can see the similarities to the trabecular bone. Now, you can see a good example of this Swiss cheese looking trabecular bone. And in the channels, you can see the red iron ore. And you might think this is just earth packed in from flooding. But if you look at this larger example, you can see that this is not earth. This is actual iron ore coming out of this trabecular bone. Now, could this be here, the fragments of giants scattered all over? Now, as we get closer, you can see the different tissue of the surface of these so-called rocks. Now, again, here I've added more examples of tissues just to show the different similarities to these so-called rocks. Now, this rock has the uncanny look of a lung, and if you look closely, you can see all the ventricles that would be visible in a lung. Now, here is a diagram up above like that. You can see the different type of ventricles. Now, just by looking at the lung diagrams and looking at the so-called stone, you tell me there's not a possibility this can be true. Now, like I said before, this is all theory, but after seeing this video, you'll probably never look at a rock the same. But could there be some truth in this theory?
Is this why they put this salt instead of sea salt to remove the worldwide evidence?
In 1871, the banks incorporated the United States and called the United States a corporation. And when they created the District of Columbia, what they did was they put that corporation in the District of Columbia. And they said that the members of Congress were actually managers of that corporation. And they said the President of the United States was actually the president of that corporation. So we're not living
got some people in there
in
say
the
coincidental, right?
in the country that we think we're living in. And what I've actually done is I have said that we are under something called state capture. And I have said that there is an interregnum. And if you look that word up, that means that we don't have a legitimate government. And when the founding fathers wrote this Constitution, they realized that the bankers were trying to pull a fast one on us.
It's time to wake up.
This is the body cam footage of when Natalie and Steve came to the hospital and they're being told that Mackenzie, Dom, and Davion were in an accident. I want you to watch Steve. Let's run that back. He very much looked at Natalie before displaying his reaction. To me, this says a lot. Now, the officer says, does anyone know a Jacob? But our good old crisis manager, Natalie, clocks that shit at a half second and says, stop, let him talk.
Anyone know a Jacob?
Dom? No, stop, let him talk.
Excuse me, sir, that officer most definitely said, Jacob, why did your brain immediately go to Dom? In my opinion, a father that was genuinely confused, he would say, we don't know a Jacob. Would not immediately connect the wrong name to Dom. Natalie was not telling homeboy to be patient. She was telling him to shut the hell up. And then watch Natalie's performative confusion. I also want you to be watching Steve, how he completely stopped showing emotion, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he turns those theatrics right back on.
So are drugs.
Dom is dead? Dom is dead? Is that what you're saying to me? Look at me. Is that Dom is dead?
There's no way for me to say anything right now, man.
Dom,
This is a serious situation.
Dom with the same Dom. Maybe it's a different Dom. It could be a different Dom.
Girl, which other Dom do you know? That is far from the most chilling part. Because later on down the road, after Mackenzie goes to prison, Steve's going to get on the phone with her.
Hard that they all disappear. That's all I said. And if I had a magic wand, I wouldn't go back and help Davian first. I'd make everybody else disappear.
Let's run that back one more time.
I wouldn't go back and help Davian first.
He said, and I quote, I wouldn't go back and save Davian first. Not I would stop the crash. Not I would save those boys. Not even I would save my daughter from this. Specifically, out of everyone, he calls out Davian. Davian Flanagan, the friend in the back seat. Why is Davian the name that came out of his mouth? Not the boy that was dating his daughter? In psychology, there's something called a Freudian slip. This is where your subconscious tells the truth that your conscious mind is trying to hide. Steve's subconscious just told on itself. And then I found something in the court documents that literally made my stomach drop. Because it turns out that Davian was on Mackenzie's mind too. This is not an opinion. This is not a hypothesis. This is a court document. Sharilla had significant injuries to her leg and arm. One of the first things she said was, how is Davian? Not how is Dominic? Not is my boyfriend okay? Now I'm just going to let you sit with that.
What if I told you the mother behind me was feeding her sons to cannibals? Behind me is Klara Maurova. She's from the Czech Republic, and she had two sons, Jacob and Andrej. Her and her sister were part of this weird cult called the Grail Movement. They believed by doing good deeds that they would go to heaven. Now here's where it gets dangerous. This cult also believes that they were free to commit any crimes they wanted to, and nothing would affect them. And they were also cannibals. Things now got even stranger when her sister showed up with an adopted Norwegian child named Anika. She was 13 years old. Some people believe she was actually 30 and posing as a child. She was in a trafficking ring and had a lot of sympathy for her. Soon, Klara started to forget about her sons and started thinking about adopting Anika as her own. That's when this weird doctor started emailing and texting her out of nowhere. He claimed to be Anika's physician. She met up with him. He showed her her medical records. He gained her trust. The doctor said to Klara that you cannot adopt Anika because her sons are so mean to her. This was the doctor's plan all along as a cult leader. Do you guys remember that cult I was talking about at the beginning of the video? The doctor is like the head of this cult. He said to fix this, she needs to beat her boys as much as she can for every little thing, and she fell for it. This was to cure their evil spirits. The doctor said these treatments are not working now. You need to take them to a cottage very far off from everyone else. She met up there. There were several people there, including her sister and Anika's brother. The boys were put in cages and tortured in every single way you can think possible. People there started to skin the boys and eat their flesh. They also made the boys eat their own flesh as well. And Anika, the 13-year-old, she kept saying the boys were still being mean to her to continue this abusive cycle. She was also part of that cult, and she was not 13. The whole cottage shock therapy ended and they went back home. The boys were treated the exact same back home though by their mother Klara. They were put in a cellar and locked up in there. Anika was living life in a room with a ton of toys and got everything she wanted. She was basically manipulating Klara this entire time. Now here's the way that she got caught, and it is crazy. Her neighbor was setting up a baby monitor for his newborn baby. Now back in like the early 2000s, if you had a baby monitor nearby, it could pick up that signal and you could see what's in there. It could jam a little bit. He managed to see these boys tied up in cages in her basement. Could you imagine the horrifying look he had on his face seeing this? And he did what every good person would do. He called the police immediately to get them some help. The police came, everybody was arrested. Klara, her sister, and Anika. And it turns out Anika was a 33-year-old woman. Her real name was Barbara Sklorova. This is a picture of Barbara Sklorova right here, aka Anika, and she was the basis for the movie Orphaned. In case the story's
I've seen that movie.
Sounding familiar, it's basically Orphaned. The doctor was actually the father of that girl Anika, aka Barbara. And Klara's sister was in on this cult the entire time and manipulated her. They all got about 5 to 10 years in prison.
That's it? That's it? They should not be let out.
This story definitely had the wildest turn of events I've read about.
What happened to the boys?
She was having a mastectomy on the table for breast cancer. They wanted me to tell them her diagnosis and to justify her overnight stay. As I was leaving that day, I picked up my phone and I said, I just need someone to know. I got a phone call into the operating room saying that United Healthcare wanted me to call them about one of the patients who was having surgery today, who was actually asleep having surgery. And I was like, do you understand that she's asleep right now? And she has breast cancer. What happened is the big insurance company sent me a very threatening six-page letter telling me to apologize for speaking out, to remove the post, to say that I had lied, which I had not. And they said I was fomenting violence because there were comments online saying, you know, we hate insurance companies, etc. I called an attorney who agreed to take my case pro bono. He said, Elizabeth, do you want to make this go away? Or would you like to make a difference? And I let the world see how insurance companies treat us when we stand up for patients. And they had stamped on the top of that letter, they had stamped confidential. And my attorney said, bull. And by the way, partisanship, like our patients deserve that every 4 years, healthcare is not up for debate. Period. So like there is no sides. This is a right, a human right, should be an American right. I will sit in a room with anybody who wants to do something for patients and healthcare workers. We are going to change healthcare in America, and that is part of the story. We are going to create the Speak Free Act that protects us when we tell the truth professionally about what is going on in healthcare.
Healthcare for profit is a crime.
Something very dark was going on in Mackenzie's house. I saw another creator, a Pineapple, talk about this, but why do her parents not care that she is 17 years old living with a 21-year-old? Her dad even says in the documentaries, he's like, Mackenzie loves fancy things. Her boy is rich, so he gets her all the stuff she wants. And Pineapple brings up this point that this is showing that her dad puts money over morals. Listen to the rest of what she said and keep this in mind. She's a social worker, and I fear she cooked. So everybody found out that Mackenzie is an worker, and she was doing this through Snapchat. Now she's doing it in prison. But then it's like, why does this 17-year-old girl feel like she needs to do this? Her boyfriend has money, so she's not broke. And we already have established that she's clearly selling certain things, and that's how she's making her money. So she doesn't need the money. She has male attention from her boyfriend. Her parents don't seem to be poor. They give her whatever she wants and let her do whatever she wants. So it's not about getting something. It's not about freedom. She doesn't even live with her parents. On top of that, it was said that she never ever wanted to be home, and nobody knew exactly why. And then when you look at all of that, on top of the milk thing that I brought up in the last video, it gets very incriminating. I'm not here to make accusations. I'm just stating what I am seeing based on the facts. This is all alleged. I have to repeat, it's all alleged. On top of this, it's extremely concerning to see how unbothered her parents are that she is a killer. Maybe they're just holding it together for the documentary. But regardless, it's weird. It's all about Mackenzie. It has nothing to do with the victims. Mackenzie could do no wrong in anybody's eyes. She's never been punished for any of this, from her parents at least. They're still letting her go out and do whatever she wants. They act very scared of her. And for why? Like, you see how anxious and fidgety her mom is. But also, her baby just got arrested. And she's guilty as hell. I don't know. It just feels like they're hiding something. And then on top of that, this girl had no love for her life. It really seemed like, when you look at the facts, you're telling me she just slammed on that accelerator and went 100 miles into a wall and didn't even try to stop at all? What was going on in that house? Also, hi, I'm Grace. I like to talk about true crime. So if you like that too, give me a follow.
Here's the thing. I'm not going to lip sync into a microphone ever again. Those days are over. I have my self-worth. When I got sick after the, It gave me the greatest awakening of my life. When we went back in 2019, we did a reunion tour. What I found in that experience was something that was so empowering. It became so degrading. And we were doing the show at GAY in London. I'll never forget this. And we're like thinking our microphones are on. And then we go to introduce ourselves and no one could hear me. My microphone was off. Like when we broke up, I did dance music. I have 7 #1 hits on the #1 Billboard Club play charts. I worked my butt off. I never slept my way to the top. I had to actually put the work in. And I'm very proud, but I never had a microphone in 10 years that was off. So when that happened, I looked at Carmit when we got off stage and I said, girl, I can't do this anymore. I was like, this is not okay. And even her microphone wasn't on and she was a lead.
Wow.
So so when you watch the playback and I'm just like, we are lip syncing to stack vocals, like robotic stack vocals. She alluded that, okay, we're going to do a single and you guys are going to sing leads and you're going to blah, 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 blah. So we get to London, we prepare for the X Factor because we were going to do the, announce the reunion tour and do this thing. And she goes, hey guys, I have something to play you. She plays us React. And again, we're not on the damn song. And the next day we had to perform React on X Factor.
Get the fuck out of here.
Performing the song and no vocal. That's crazy.
Perform, but not perform.
Yeah.
Right.
Pretend like you're singing.
Straight Milli Vanilli shit.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
That's what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
Straight up Milli Vanilli.
Like it's Milli Vanilli.
That's where I'm at.
But they can actually sing though. That's the thing. Like Milli Vanilli, like they couldn't sing and it was somebody completely different, but they can actually sing and they're still not singing. They're like, hey, she's doing all the singing, she's doing all the work, and they're just puppets.
Be careful of the woman who admires you, because she might just want to be you.
You ready?
Ready, come out, good?
Yeah. Thank you, babe. Here, I love you. I'll call you when I finish this thing with my mom. Okay, later.
If you are a woman with a strong sense of self, confident and secure in herself, you cannot help but attract people who are deeply insecure. It starts with these women admiring you for who you are. It slowly turns into envy because they realize they could never compete with you. So instead of competing with you, they imitate. Talk like you, they dress like you, they behave like you, they have the same hobbies, the same interests, and pretend to be you. Until they become you. This is actually a psychological and spiritual method called destiny swapping. These two are a great example because Kim Kardashian started off as Paris Hilton's shadow. She was her maid and assistant. Now she's more famous than her. Paris Hilton was born into fame and money. Kim Kardashian was not. She was more hungry for success and fame than she ever was. She was out drinking, partying, and going about her day, being comfortable in a position she was. She had a game plan all along. For a copycat to take over and surpass you, it only takes one thing: proximity. Your resources, your fame, your identity, your network, your ideas, and your mind. Brings me to step number 1 on how to protect yourself from somebody copying and trying to steal your entire identity. Cut them off. If you can remove proximity, the person has no more leverage. When one individual provides consistent, unfiltered access to their network, resources, public visibility, they're essentially handing the other person the foundation of their own empire. By the way, I'm a huge fan of both of them, and I think Kim Kardashian didn't do anything unethical. She just leveraged the position she was in. She never hid her intentions. She was always open about wanting to be famous, wanting to be successful, and she was very strategic and smart about it. While she chased her success, she never hurt her friend in the process either. This is not how it usually goes. People will hide their selfish, evil intentions and try to keep you small with backhanded compliments and stabs. And once they received everything they ever wanted from you and actually became you, they will replace you and cut you off.
But there was a new leaked document. Epstein had a roadmap called What If I Get Caught? This is an email from May 1st, 2009. With Mr. Epstein, Dr. Jarecki asked me to send you the following notes along with the statement, quote, I'm thinking of writing a new book and I need a co-author. That's exactly the cover I would use too.
Yeah,
it's like good. The O.J. Simpson, if I did it.
Yeah, literally.
Not saying I did, but it's
always in front of our face.
Says, what if I get caught? And it's got a bunch of segments right here. The first segment, trouble avoidance. Have a fall guy. Avoid learning about illegal acts of others. So give no advice that aid and abets. Wife testimony. Safe houses. Disguises. Plastic surgeon. Document generation. Birth certificate. Driver's license. Creating a new identity. And, Epstein's apparently dead, right?
Yeah,
That's what they told us.
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
Oh my God.
There are reports saying that formerly deleted Epstein files show that Trump allegedly did things with his daughter Ivanka. Not that it would surprise me, because if you've seen some of the comments he's made about his daughter, it doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility. And some of the stuff I've seen people accused of on these files in the worst case scenarios, like eating kids and sacrificing the ball, banging a daughter is not even in the top 3 worst things I've seen coming out of these files. Now, whether or not he did it is a different matter. We have to be objective here. People are getting this out of 2 things. Out of an email saying, Jeffrey said, I have met some very bad people, none as bad as Trump, not one decent cell in his body. There's another email where he says, yeah, Trump's evil. He's a psychopath. And people are saying, what could Trump have done that's so bad that Epstein, of all people, is calling you the worst person he's ever met? Maybe effing a daughter is just a line that Epstein crossed. I doubt it, but maybe that's it. Who knows? But the other main thing that people are saying is, there was a P star who said that Trump said to her, you remind me of Ivanka, my daughter, after banging her. So people are surmising from this that he did stuff with his daughter. I want to be very clear here. From the research I've done, there's no actual evidence or allegation against Trump or any eyewitness testimony saying that he did stuff with his daughter. There are people saying that he touched up his daughter in weird ways and acts sus towards her, but there's no evidence that he did anything with his daughter in that regard. So we got to keep things a stack over here. I will say it wouldn't surprise me if this was the case. He talks about his daughter in a way that no dad would and should.
If Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know.
It's so weird. Stop. You know what? You are sick.
Yeah.
If you think this is a normal way for a dad to talk about his daughter, you're like a cult member, or you're deluder, or I'll never let you near a child again. You need to be locked up. Someone check your hard drives.
It was Aleister Crowley who said today they call them angels and demons, and tomorrow they'll call them something else. What are we going to call them today? Because what I see is a difference between angels and demons for sure. When a fallen angel, falls, which by the way, they do have the choice to fall. I believe that. They don't become demons.
I'm not here to help you, little bitch, because I love you or because I care for you, but because 2 hells is 1 hell too many.
A demon is something else. Just like there's a fundamental difference between Pleiadians and frickin' whatever the hell this is. And yes, I hold to Gray's being amphibian in nature. Look, big eyes, slanted mouth. When Apostle John started having visions of the apocalypse, he saw impure spirits that looked like frogs. He saw 3 of them. They came out of the mouth of the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. These are not angels. These are not fallen angels. They're different. They are a different entity. They are something else. They're like a shadowy thing that can take on different forms.
Angels covered by grace of God. Demons fallen from grace.
Now, what do you mean 1 month after the crash, she gets out of the hospital and goes straight to a concert in her wheelchair? Mackenzie got a way different edit on Hulu than she got on Netflix. And I'm not even...
Who is this Mackenzie, man? I don't follow.
Saying that the Netflix edit was favorable, but the Hulu edit was really not favorable. Per everyone's recommendation, I went and watched The Mean Girls Murder on Hulu Season 2, Episode 7, which was about the exact same thing that The Crash on Netflix was about. And I learned a few things over there that I did not learn in the Netflix documentary. And I am going to ruin the Hulu documentary for you in 3, 2, 1. Her parents didn't show up in that documentary. The Hulu episode aired March 25th, 2024. And since this is a docu-series about Mean Girls, that was definitely the theme of this episode as well. Classmates of her were describing her as wanting to be like Regina George from Mean Girls, saying that she had a list of enemies, outlining what she wanted to do to them. I learned a little bit more about Davion and Dom, one thing being that Davion wanted to write music and Dom had a studio in his house, and that Dom's house was next to his parents' house. Also, there was way more of a highlight of Dom outgrowing this relationship and possibly wanting to leave it. We also learned a bit more about the investigation. The cops described going over her car with a fine-tooth comb because she had so many enemies. They thought maybe someone had tampered with the car. They even said when they were going through her phone, they had saw that the GPS in her phone had hit in the same location as the accident just 3 days before that, and that she had no reason for being there, and that it was nowhere near her house, and they considered that a dry run. So overall, I don't think either documentary necessarily made her look good, but the Hulu one definitely made her look worse.
I found some, y'all, and if they try to get me for this, y'all better not let them fucking get me for this. Right here is documentation of Africans being brought to the Americas in a place in West Africa they called Judah. 16 slave trading ships arrived from the Senegal region. 6 ships came from Judah, landed at the mouth of Mississippi in 1731. 1 ship from Judah landed 464 slaves at the mouth of Mississippi. On page 69 it states, Company of India had a trading place at Judah with all the nations of Europe. Table 1 in the back of the book will show the origins and the number of slaves brought to Louisiana from Judah, Africa, 1719 through 1743. So y'all know I had to look into why they were calling a place in Africa Judah. In the 18th century, French records, Judah was a major slave trading port located in what is modern-day Benin and Togo, West Africa, aka Guinea. Of course, when I stumbled across this information, I was just like, oh my God. The names listed in the table are the actual names of French ships that transported enslaved West Africans to colonial Louisiana between 1719 and 1728. However, original historical archives and manifestos record these individuals by their West African regional origins, not as Hebrews. I looked into it to see if any of this was false or made up. This is a real book. The contents in the tables are real. So, I mean, y'all, I guess look into it and get back to your girl.
This serial killer documentary premiered today, and it has me freaked out. This documentary does a deep dive into the man who is currently accused of being the Gilgo Beach serial killer. And some of you might be thinking, didn't we just get a documentary on this? And yes, we did, but this one is completely different. If you love documentaries, make sure to hit follow because I post daily and you'll never miss out on what's new. A few months ago, a documentary was released on Netflix on the Gilgo Beach killings. These murders went unsolved for a very long time. This documentary does a deep dive into the man who is currently awaiting trial and is accused of committing these heinous crimes. This guy wasn't arrested until 2023 in relation to this case, so this is all brand new information. All of his family and friends are interviewed in this documentary. We get an idea of who he was and that he was clearly living a double life, and most of them seem pretty convinced that he did this. You guys gotta check this out and let me know what you think about this in the comments.
Courtney's relationship with Travis is just a repetition of her mother wound, or at least that's my theory. Stay with me. So Courtney lived a whole life of Chris pitting Courtney and Kim against each other, from looks to fame to work ethic, and this is classic triangulation. It is one of the oldest tools in narcissistic family systems. And the tactic behind this for narcissistic parents is you never let children feel love at the same time, because children who are competing for love are easier to manage. And Courtney is really at a disadvantage for this. I just did a whole YouTube video breaking this down. Basically, Courtney is supposed to be the scapegoat. She sees the dysfunction, and when she speaks out against it, she's punished. So in that case, Kim is much more easier to manage. Kim falls in line with the system more. And Courtney's really interesting because she has this point where she sees the dysfunction, she's self-aware enough to even name it, but she never actually leaves. So it's very likely that Courtney probably felt less chosen than Kim. And then we have her relationship with Travis, and people forget this because the Kardashians have never admitted it, but it's fine because Travis himself has admitted that he was obsessed with Kim. Kim is who he was first pursuing. Travis gushed about Kim in his memoir. He said how hot he thought she was. He knew both Courtney and Kim. He pursued Kim. Him and Kim dated. He himself said they went to lunch, they went to dinner. And Travis's ex had a lot more to say about what they did. I'm going to get into that later. So then Courtney marries Travis, who, just like her mother, chose Kim. And I could see why she wants to hold on to this relationship so tightly, why it was so publicly loud, is because there is this piece of, look, Kim and I were pitted against each other, we were competing, and I'm finally the chosen one. But really, it's like, girl, that's just the mommy wound front and center. And I really wonder how much of Courtney's self has she lost in this. Her identity has completely merged with Travis's, and this isn't a small thing. Like, when your old self completely morphs, we're really seeing identity dissolution. I really think even if her and Travis's relationship wasn't healthy, she wouldn't leave because of this mother wound. But I break that all down, her relationship with Travis, her relationship with her mother, her relationship with Scott in my new YouTube videos. This is my thing, is seeing the patterns in the psychology other people miss. So give me a follow if that's your thing, and make sure you check out the YouTube video as well. And I'll do a part 2 talking about what Travis's ex had to say about Kim and Travis.
If you missed my latest video where I exposed how Erica Kirk's parents are pictured here with the wife of a very prominent military Satanist, go ahead and watch that before you watch the rest of this video. So like I said last time, Michael Aquino, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino, is a high-ranking Satanist and also a very high-ranking Major Colonel in the military. Then I brought up the point how he looks eerily similar to both J.D. Vance and Erica Kirk. And then if you see here how similar Erica Kirk and J.D. Vance look to each other, it makes sense that Michael Aquino was possibly their father. Remember, Erica Kirk's parents are pictured here with Michael Aquino's wife, meaning Michael Aquino was probably just right outside of the photo. And if you don't know, in satanic and cult circles, sharing your wife and sharing your partner is pretty much a requirement. But this Satanist connections to Turning Point USA and Erica Kirk go deeper than just facial similarities. Let me introduce you to Paul E. Vallely. Similar to Michael Aquino, he is a major general in the military. He also happens to be on the board of advisors for Turning Point USA. But if you look at the very top of this page, I had to do it through the Wayback Machine because Turning Point USA's current website has his name completely removed. Yet his Wikipedia page still has him listed as a board of advisor for the Turning Point USA. But very clearly, just back in June of 2026, he was listed on Turning Point USA's website. If you can find him on Turning Point USA's website, please let me know because I looked everywhere and could not find him. It seems like they completely removed the board of advisors section. Maybe they removed him from their website because people started to figure out and realize that that guy had wrote this from PSYOP to Mind War with, guess who, Michael Aquino. So someone on the Turning Point USA's board of advisors was directly connected to this guy. And they wrote this paper about Mind War, which is like PSYOP times 100. If you read right here, Mind War is the deliberate, aggressive convincing of all participants in a war that we will win that war. Now remember, we are in a war right now against, I guess what you could call the Epstein class, Satanist, whatever you want to say. And they want to convince you and me that they have won the war and that the war is already over, that there is no winning the war for us. But at the end of the day, the Most High will always prevail. Remember that, and they will have to face for all of their crime.